Okay, it's another day. Looks like there was some kind of CSS issue, I guess. I was talking with Charles Sterling last night. He was mentioning there was some kind of CSS issue going on with the site, and that it was hopefully going to be fixed last night. So it looks like it is fixed. That's what I was getting some weird errors and things like that yesterday. So which made it sort of non-productive. Um, so it looks like it's all back and get logged in and all that sort of thing. I don't have too many replies here. Um, so what I'm going to do is I do want to note this. I don't know if you've seen this blog post. It's out here in the community blog actually. So if you go to the home site, go to the community blog, you'll see Happy New Year from Power BI Desktop. It's actually kind of a fun little video. Pretty short, um, but it kind of goes so 150 new features released last year, and they kind of go through their top five, which you can see here: report page tooltips, web by example, composite models, expand collapse, new filter experience, and if you can join the conversation and vote for your own favorite feature. So check it out if you have a minute. I recommend it. But let's go ahead and take a look at the all topics. When I was doing this earlier, it looked like there was a ton of unanswered questions. So you can see down here is just a ton of questions with no replies. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on here. Deploying a large number of client-specific data sets. Um, I'll go ahead and open that one. How to restrict table load to records with key field. Math works, banding doesn't. All right. Well, I didn't want to do that. Sometimes my mouse doesn't operate correctly. Calculated column to find alternatives from a difference. Okay. How to join large tables exceeding max rows. Let's start with these and go from there. Deploying a large number of client-specific data sets. We have a bit of an advanced use case that we're trying to optimize. We have one Power BI template that is published across 50 plus workspaces. Okay. Each publication workspace has its own set of parameters that are currently being manually adjusted. Files then need to have their query steps applied and be published. All this is fairly involved in error-prone process. We therefore looking into automating this entire process using the Power BI API, as there are endpoints for uploading a PBX file, changing parameters, refreshing datasets. This is a workable solution for us, but I was wondering if there might be a better way, something like a private organizational app source Power BI app or some similar. Does anyone have some experiences with large-scale multi-client Power BI deployments? Um, well, so the issue there is going to be the options you have available are somewhat dependent on your specific use case. However, my understanding, it is probably advised to move away from templates, as I'm not certain solution templates. I'm not certain that those are really on the roadmap going forward. A lot is changing in that space with the new app workspaces and organizational content packs, etc. Stuff's really kind of up in the air a little bit. I have to do some more research on this, but I'm going to follow this thread. Hopefully somebody from Microsoft might be able to jump in here and see what's going on. How to restrict table load to records with key field already present in existing table. I've loaded a fact table of invoices. I want to load a customer table, but only for those customers that have an invoice record in the invoice table. I'm thinking of something that would apply a where exists type condition to the customer table load. Any suggestions? If this is SQL Server and you have the ability to submit SQL code for a query, or have someone create a view or stored procedure, you could do this in straight up SQL join. Otherwise, at MKF might have some suggestions for you. You could look at doing a merge query, for example, in Power BI, Power Query. Essentially, import your invoices. What is it? Is it an invoice table? Where exists type again into the customer table. Import your customer table, and then merge it with the correct type of merge with your invoices table. MathWorks banding doesn't. I have a slightly more complex measure and I don't know what is happening. I'm calculating the index score correctly. However, when I try to use the banding method of categorizing, the categories get weird. The banding method of categorizing. I don't know, I'm not exactly certain what the banding method is. Calculating the index based on calculated column. Banding categorization. Okay. Calculate values, activity index, grouping index, filter, activity, account index greater than or equal to activity index, grouping, min, and less than. That's, wow. Wow. Any way that you can provide sample data and expected output of that sample data. Trying to read somebody else's code without having any kind of context is tough. You know, I've got a quick measure out here. ABC dynamic. Tough to say, but seems like some kind of categorization, of dynamic categorization. So perhaps this quick measure might assist. Okay, that one's there, that one's there. Calculate column to find alternatives from a different table. Hi everyone, I have following data sets. Hey, we have sample data, hooray! Compare data table. Okay. Full data table. I'm looking to create a calculate column where I can later show and count who and how many alternative vendors to A and their average cost if model and group columns are used as slicers. If W5 is chosen from the model slicer, W5, okay, and or EEC is selected from the group slicer, EEC, okay, alternatives to A equals B and E, and equals B and E and R. Ignore A in the results. B, and E, and R. Number of tonners is 3, average cost is this. I don't know if it should be a calculate column or a measure because I'd like to put these information in a bubble chart later where it shows A's average cost and its alternatives cost. Okay, well, I'm going to be, I should have fired this up earlier, but I'm going to fire up Power BI Desktop here. And I'm also going to need Excel. So I may be killing my machine performance here. So I don't know what the compare data table is. Oh, well, I guess he's choosing probably data from his, so his slicers, I guess, would be based upon his compare data. I don't know why he would do that necessarily. Compare data table. So this would be, I guess he would be choosing W5 EEC and then the cost from that table, the average cost from that table. Yeah, look, let's look. 100 plus 150 plus 105. Wow, that shouldn't be in there. Plus 3,000 plus 1215. But why is he including W3 if he's choosing his model of W5? That seems strange to me. I guess what I would be doing would not be doing that, but okay, so off screen here, well, I can put it on screen. I am taking these guys and doing the paste into Excel process so that I can then paste them from Excel. And I have a file that I just started working on, working 41. I think I've only got one. This was from yesterday, I believe, or the day before when I was doing some work. Started a new file, working 40, just was getting a little bit too much to work on. Too convoluted. Alright, so we'll call this guy compare data. We'll load that. Then we got to take this, and once this loads, now we'll probably need to have a, I don't want to do a many-to-many, so we'll probably have to do, oh yeah, well, we may not, I mean, probably are not going to, we have to have no relationship, I think. Otherwise, we're going to have to use relationship and a bunch of other stuff, and I don't want to deal with it. Full data, load. Alright. Check out our relationships here. Okay, good, no relationship between them. Now, let's create a new page. Let's assume that he's using his slicers as his model. Alright. And then we also want a slicer for group. And you know what? Just so you guys can see this better. Presentation 2.json. Let's see, this should increase the font size with all of this. Okay, successful. Well, not for the slicers apparently, so maybe I need to add that in there. All right, and then he's gonna want to, so he's gonna want, we're gonna want to measure. So what he wants to do is get the average cost of this. All right, so this is easy enough, actually. So let's I'll just create a new measure here. Come on, machine, let's go. Okay. So measure 2 equals, first thing we're going to do is get the var model equals max of compare data model. So this is going to give us what's selected in the slicer. And then var group equals max compare data group. So now we're going to need our temp table, right? So give me a temp table. Oh, and the vendor. We're also going to need var vendor equals max compare data vendor. Is it name? It's name. Vendor name. Okay. Because he doesn't want. All right. So anyway, so we want a table where we filter. Just should be able to just do a straight up filter of the full data table. Filter. We want to filter the full data table where the vendor name is not equal to our vendor and our model is equal to, be consistent, Greg, our engine model is equal to our model and our group, our material group, I'm going to go with that for right now, is equal to our group. Let's make sure that we're doing this right. Material group, yes, okay. So that's going to give us our table. Now let's see here. So B equals that, E equals this, R equals that. Alternatives are B, E, R. Number of alternatives is 3, the average cost. 85, 115. Well, see, the problem with that is going to be, I can give him his average cost for everybody. Our vendor average equals average X of the table is going to be filtered, so that'd be compare data. Well, so when he wants to know, it's not. It's going to be all compare data name. So this is going to remove, because in his calculation of, I don't know if this is right or not, but he's got us choosing W5, but he wants to include the repair costs for apparently W3s as well, which seems wrong to me. But but he does want to keep it to all A's, I'm assuming. So we're going to get, well, that's going to all, actually what this needs to be is model. So all model and all group. Let's just do it this way. Filter all of compare data. where name equals vendor. So what's basically what I'm doing here, and I'm going to average the cost, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm basically removing all filters off of compare data because we've got the slicers defined, which are filtering it. So basically strip all that away and then create a new filter context where I'm just grabbing all of the vendors that I've got selected. So that's when I'm going to average the cost out of those. So then we would do var other average equals we're going to do an average x on table of cost, compare cost. And since we've already filtered that for that, okay, we're all good. Return, for right now, we're going to return others average. Let's see what we get with that. Put measure 2 out here, and we'll put it as this. So 550. So then the question becomes, $85 plus 1115 plus 450 divided by 3, 550. Look at that. Okay, well, that's a start anyway. I have to think about if he wants to put this in a bubble chart and have it. I mean, we could do that. Perhaps. All right, so I select vendor A. I select W5. And I select ECC. So I get that 550. So now if I select W3 divider, well, I mean, he's presented a very simple data model here, but should be at least something to get him started down the right path, I would think. All right, here is a measure I created that probably doesn't do exactly what you want, but hopefully gets you started. The measure returns the average of all vendors in the full data table that are not the original vendor selected. You should be able to put this into a bubble chart. Along with the vendor name as a, put this, I don't know about a bubble chart, but a chart along as the legend. It should work. That's my, so there's my little stars with it say, should work. See attached, page 2. There we go, working 41. Post that guy. How to join large tables without exceeding max resources. I try to fill a column from 3 table, 100,000 rows per table. I use this measure and it works, but I'm exceeding max resources. Not familiar with DAX, but I wonder the problem is with the selected value. I don't know what else to use. Selected value, main, selected value, version, selected value, old table version. So what is he doing here? If selected value main state equals new, then selected value from the new table version, otherwise selected value of old table version. Selected value of new table version. Why would he use selected table there? Selected value there. So I guess he's selecting a value. Not sure regarding performance, but you can often use an aggregation like min or max in lieu of selected value. You could give that a try to see if performance improves. Okay, so this one has been answered. That one has been posted as well. Looks like I got a notification from someone. How to restrict table load to records with key field. Let's see, was that from the original person? Apparently. Tables in question are in CSV format. Okay. I'm a ClickView user and I've been accustomed to load only relevant records where possible from my dimension tables. I have excluded non-relevant data from the model altogether. I can see that the merge option should work from a modeling point of view, but I would still have a pile of non-relevant customer info hanging around in the model. Why? If you follow. No, I don't follow. No, I don't follow. If you use a merge query with the right type of join, then you should only end up with relevant customer data in the model. Let's see, edit queries. Merge queries as new. Yeah, so you have, which one is it? Left outer, right outer, full outer, inner, only matching rows. Yeah, you should only do matching rows. All from first, awesome. You would use an inner join. If you use an inner join, then it should only match should only include matching rows. There is a way to um, there's a way to put this all into a single query. Alright, so I wrote an article on this. It's actually in TechNet. I don't think I've ever transferred it to anything else. I'll have to look. Enter, so merge queries with M. Merge query with M, TechNet article. Look at that. See if this is the right one. Yep, this is it. So the default process is, yeah, and it's even CSVs. Look at that. Bam. All right. See my article on that here. All right, and with that, I'm going to have to wrap up this session. So hopefully everybody's having a good day, and I will talk to you maybe later in the day.